हम आकाशवाणी के लखनऊ केंद्र से बोल रहे हैं। लीजिए सुनिए अंग्रेजी कार्यक्रम। कार्यक्रम में आज आप सुनेंगे फखरे आजम की वार्ता। विषय है रेलेवेंस ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन इन आवर लाइव्स।
This is All India Radio. Welcome to our English program. In our English program today we have a talk entitled Relevance of Communication in Our Day-to-Day Lives by Fakhre Azam. Well, Mr. Fakhre Azam was with the aviation industry. He is an expert on behavioral science, human behavior, and as the topic suggests, he is a very good communicator. So over to Mr. Fakhre Azam.
Communication. This is such a common word that we keep hearing on and off. But how do you adapt this in your day-to-day life? A lot of people take communication and mistake it as a language. Communication is not a language. Language is just a delivery model where you use any language, but communication is using that language to express and impress somebody else. There's a big common perception that communication is a soft skill. I totally disagree. Communication is not a soft skill. Communication is a core skill of our lives. It's a skill for survival. Can you believe that what would happen if there was no communication? Would a child be able to ask for food? Would a parent be able to understand or ask the child what they want? I am talking to you on All India Radio. Would it have been possible if there was no communication model? If there was no communication happening? You need to understand. Communication can make our lives wonderful, or it can actually reduce the quality of our lives. It's a big statement that I'm making. Think about it. If you had to express yourself, what would you do? How would you express yourself? Would you sing a song? Isn't song a way of communication? Would you be writing a letter? We have been doing those letters and cards for years, on and on and on. Today, with social media and with technology, the cards have been replaced with different social media platforms. But isn't that a communication? We need to understand the basic relationship between people can only happen if there is an ongoing communication. The first barrier to relationships, the first breakdown in relationships is because of lack of communication. Like I said, we're going to talk about the relevance of communication in our day-to-day life. You need to understand in a day-to-day life, we need to be part of a social setup, the society. Can you understand or can you imagine a society with no communication? What would happen? Everybody is doing their own thing and which may not be relevant to somebody else. What would be the outcome? Zero. Think about it. If the person who invented the wheel did not find the stress of walking and wanted to create a wheel and was not able to communicate that idea into reality, what would have happened? Yes, that is also a part of communication. What we have done over the years, we have restricted the word communication and its application in our lives. We only relate it to things like somebody is very good with conversations, somebody is very good with expressing themselves, somebody speaks so softly and so pleasant to hear somebody. Communication is much beyond that. These are the communications, what I just spoke about, written, verbal, or any other sign language. These are the communications which are intentional, where we actually want to express ourselves. But think about the communication that happens 24/7, where you are not even aware what message you are conveying to somebody else. That's dangerous, because if you do not know what you are communicating to somebody else and the communication is happening by default, what would happen? Yes, a lot of things which should not have reached others would reach those people who may be somebody close to you emotionally, socially, and it can have a huge damage. Think about it. A lot of people say communication can be the core cause of relationship breakdown or a lot of other factors of success in our lives. It is not about what we communicate. It is not about the words we use. The delivery of the communication is much more important. How you say something is more important than actually what you say. Think about it. Most of us have such a huge barrier when we have to say no to someone. All the listeners, listening to me right now, most of you would have faced this barrier in your lives at some stage or the other. That how do we say no to somebody? What would that person think about me? How would that person perceive me that, I'm being rude or I am being too upfront? How do I do it? There is a very easy way to say no. All you need to do is find the right tone and the right expression to say no. Believe me, if it was so difficult to say no, a lot of things would not be what we see in the world. A lot of people have said no to things for the world to be the way it is. The best thing is when you say no and you say it with a smile. Smile is a major part of a communication model. A smile can make you get away by saying whatever you want to say. The other person will not even understand that you are trying to be rude or you're trying to be too upfront about something. These are the softeners. These are the softeners of any communication. Believe me, if we really want to make our lives better, I'm talking about personally, I will still not come to the professional aspect. If we really want to make our life better, the way you speak, the way you communicate, your expressions and your body language, they go too far and they are very important in making it a success, making you a person who people would appreciate to be with, and making you a popular person in your life and making your life much easier, happier, and stress free. Now, think about the professional aspects. Any profession today, you see, you may be talking about specific skill sets, specific trade knowledge, but how do you deliver that trade knowledge or how do you absorb that trade knowledge? Communication is the platform. Everything happens on the communication platform. When you attend a school, when you attend a professional college, when you attend an online training program, if the person who's conducting this program is not a good communicator, what would happen? The knowledge that you gain is half baked. Even when you are making a presentation and you want to be a coach or a trainer or a teacher or a good debater or an orator, what would happen if communication platform is weak? There are so many ideas in our head, but how we use a communication skill will depend on the success aspects of those ideas. Because we have such wonderful people today, especially in the times of startups and innovation. A lot of us have that mental click or that mental brainwave of wonderful ideas. But if you're not able to communicate that idea across to somebody else, what happens? The idea falls flat. The entire success of a business, of profession, of a project can actually go down many notches if it is not communicated properly. You look around us or you go back in history and basically try and remember all the famous people you had in your life or you read about them in school or college. Any one can you remember who was not a good communicator? Be it Gandhiji, be it Nelson Mandela, be it Abraham Lincoln, be it Swami Vivekananda. Can you remember how Swami Vivekananda became an international celebrity? It's that speech that he gave, and he touched the chords of the people on an emotional level. Communication has to be on an emotional level. You cannot make it static. You cannot make it disconnected with emotions. It would be another flat aspect of a life. It's like laying down a brick wall where you're just putting one brick on top of the other. It is the emotion, it is your sensitivity, it is your modulation, it is how you express yourself that adds value to your communication. Try this out. It's something that all of you to try out once in your life. And if you feel that it is actually working for you, please adapt it and take it forward, because our lives need to be happier. See, success, money, and so many aspects of a life would be having variations at different stages of life. But the core aspect of life is what? Happiness. From happiness, you get content. From content, you feel even happier. And that happiness needs to reflect and be visible the way you communicate or in your communication aspects. You try this model, that 5 closest people in your life, the way you are communicating, analyze how you speak to them, how you acknowledge them. Believe me, when you are with somebody for a long period of time, the problem is that you start taking things for granted. You feel you don't need to make an effort with that person. But end of the day, the other person is a human being. And as human being, we need appreciation. We need somebody to appreciate us. We need somebody to listen to us. We need somebody to hold a hand and give a smile. And smile, good listening skills, good expressive communication is a part of our day to day communication. We can actually improve the quality of our relationships. We can actually improve the quality of our lives as a child, as a young teen, as an adolescent, as a person who's trying to make a career for themselves, as a person who's already in a profession. It could be doctors, engineers. Believe me, the way you talk to your patients, the way you talk to your bosses, the way you talk to your juniors, it makes a lot of difference. It is basically how you speak, how you connect, and how you reach out to people. Make your life better and make the life better and happier with for the people who are around you. So, I'm signing off for today and wishing you good communication. Keep communicating, keep spreading happiness around you.
Friends, you just heard a talk entitled Relevance of Communication in Our Daily Lives by Fakhre Azam. With that, we come to the conclusion of this edition of English program. We'll be back same time, same day next week. Till then, it's goodbye from Sanjay Pandey.